Alright everybody, today we're going to be going on this 88 Shadow. I think Aaron said it was an 87, but I'm pretty sure we found that it's an 88. This thing is a interesting motorcycle, to say the least. I've never ridden a Shadow, and especially not this old. This is probably the oldest bike I've ever ridden, and so far, so good. Very comfortable. Brakes feel good. No lockout on the gears. Very comfortable hand position. Forgot to strap down my helmet. So we're gonna want to stop somewhere and do that. Oh, very weird that the yellow light is your turn signal indicator. This is also a 5-speed. It's an 1100. It's a little shaky, but overall very smooth through the gears. We're actually going to make a pit stop down here so that we can strap up our helmet quick. Has 14,909 miles on it, which, you know, doesn't seem a lot to some people. And with this thing being the year that it is, you know, being it's an 80s bike, late 80s bike, very well maintained for that kind of miles. All right, so let's get out of here now that we're all buttoned up. Let's get back to our little cruise here. Bike, it seems and feels very comfortable. There's nothing, you know, outrageous on these bikes. It does have a windscreen, as you can see in front of us. The windscreen obviously is there because it's supposed to protect you from the wind and make it a little bit smoother of a ride. Like I said, it is a 5-speed, so, you know, it's definitely a cruiser bike, you know, just to go out and ride around and cruise, enjoy the wind, enjoy the breeze, and enjoy the weather that's around you. It's not going to be anything super fast or spectacular. It's definitely a highway cruiser, but because of that, it's very comfortable. And being that it's a Honda, you know, Honda takes great pride in their bikes, and I think Honda does a great job on their bikes, so you can kind of whip it around a little bit. Very solid feel. A little bit of engine growl, you know. The clutch feels really nice. It catches at what feels like a natural catch point. The seating position overall, very nice as well. You're very in tune with the bike. Locking gas cap. And we're back. That was a fun little excursion there. Seating position on this thing is extremely comfortable. Definitely no complaints by way of seating position, nothing like that. Very nimble. It is an 1100, so you definitely get the touring bike feel out of it with it being an 1100. Definitely has some pickup. The bars on this feel like maybe they should be rolled forward a little bit. They feel really low in position, but overall very comfortable. The suspension is super springy. Great throttle response. Very smooth throttle. You don't have to give it much and it's picking up, and this thing's definitely a cruiser. And with the little fiasco that we just had, being in town is definitely not somewhere that you want to be if you want to be cruising. I feel like this thing would sound really good with an exhaust on it. Pretty much everything on this bike is stock. Another unit that we have for sale. Overall, very comfortable ride. The windscreen, definitely you can feel a difference. There isn't as much wind hitting you in the face as you're going down the road. It's definitely a big plus to something like this, to have a windscreen. Overall, this bike's a really nice bike. Super low mileage for the year that it is. Overall, this bike is very, very nice, very comfortable. High-low beam, chokes over here. I believe this is probably something like a throttle lock for cruise control kind of situation. Your engine kill switch. The one thing that I couldn't find when I was looking up the specs to this bike was I couldn't find the seat height. I want to say it's fairly similar to just about every other Japanese bike that you can get out there. It's definitely not a tall bike. It's definitely a lower, Japanese style cruiser bike. Definitely not a Harley. Harleys you sit up way higher than you do on these. An aspect of the fact that we just rode the Softail. The Softail, you definitely sit up a lot higher than you do on this. Now, the Softail by no means is stock, so comparing it performance-wise to this bike is not fathomable, just for the sole fact that this has a windscreen, Softail doesn't. Softail seems like it's tuned, has, you know, at least a minimum of an exhaust on it. This does not. This is very, very quiet. Definitely not a lot of engine noise off of this bike, which, you know, you guys have been watching us for a little bit. You know that I greatly love engine noise. I love hearing the sound of the exhaust coming through when you're riding it. Overall, very comfortable ride. If you guys want to come down to Siegfried's Motorwerx in Lebanon, PA, and check out a great cruising bike, this is definitely the one for you. If you're not into Harleys, if you feel like Harleys just aren't your cup of tea, this is definitely a good ultimatum. That's the whole point of cruiser bikes, is to be comfortable driving down the road, right? So, you know, that's kind of where we sit here with this bike. It's ultra comfortable cruising down the road, takes bumps like a champ, has absolutely zero issue cutting through the wind with this big old windscreen in front of us. I truly, honestly don't have any gripes about this bike. This thing is a very, very, very good, solid platform. I know that there's newer Shadows out there. Not sure if they ride the same, how they feel, what makes them super ultra different than this one, other than the fact that this one's older. And being older definitely doesn't slow it down at all. It's definitely still a solid candidate for, you know, a first bike that you can just cruise around and enjoy the open road on the highway or whatever it may be. You know, with the way that the clutch feels, it's a very nice, solid grab, and it's not obnoxious like the V-Stars where they're all the way up at the top. Super all-around, very solid bike. Great motorcycle. This 1100 engine platform that sits under this thing is definitely a great engine platform, especially for the year. I want to say that this is probably one of the bigger engines for this decade of bike. It's definitely opened doors for Honda to improve on engines, and, you know, obviously once fuel injected comes in, you know, then you're looking at a really big difference, because you can get a lot better fuel mileage out of it. Not only that, but, you know, being that this is already liquid cooled and it's an 80s bike, you know, that's pretty insane. It just goes to show the amount of detail and effort that Honda puts into these. You know, again, this thing is a solid platform, solid ride, super comfortable. You don't feel out of place even cruising like we are right now, because there's a tractor trailer or farm equipment in front of us. You know, welcome to Pennsylvania. You don't feel like you're gonna, you know, dump it for any reason. It's just an overall good feeling, solid motorcycle, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with having this kind of bike to cruise around with. You know, a lot of people nowadays are getting into the older stuff. A lot of people really like the older motorcycles, and you know, I can understand why, because they're super comfortable. They put a lot of work into these bikes when they were making them. And again, if you've watched this far into our video, obviously you already know the spiel. Please like, subscribe, comment, everything on our videos. It's how we know that we're doing a good job and making a difference. This is definitely one of my favorite bikes that I've ridden to review so far, mainly because it's so old and just absolutely all around cool. There's definitely nothing about this bike that should turn anyone off from enjoying it and coming out and checking it out, riding it, making memories, and having fun out on the road. So when you have a few moments, please give a call, come down, check out the motorcycles we have. You know, this being one of them, our beautiful Shadow. You know, we have the Road King, we have the Vulcan, we have the Softail, we have some scooters as well. Stop down here, Siegfried's Motorwerx, let us know what you think, test drive some stuff, maybe buy something. Thank you guys.